I got a sense of humor, so I would just ask everyone to crowd surf me, but that's...
But I heard that.
Yo, back again.
Hey, you know my style.
Listen, new settings and that. New settings.
New things. Not the one in Brixton.
You know what I'm saying? Episode 50. Yeah. And we thought we'd bring you a special episode this time round to mark a milestone as well. We got a very, very special guest in the building. I say
best way to mark the 50th.
Best way to mark the 50th. A lifelong fan.
MVP.
Lifelong friend.
Hey, round of applause.
Round of applause.
Big him up.
Manny
For the one and only.
He's been through the trenches of us.
Manny Sharp.
Come on, man. I'm one of you lot, man. I'm one of you lot. Come on. I'm one of the hidden members.
How you feeling, bro? Welcome. How you feeling?
Thank you. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
Good to
We
see
love
you.
it. It's been years.
Yeah,
It's
man.
years.
It's been a
Just
while.
to put a bit of backstory to it, Manny went to uni with us.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days. So yeah, Manny's been a friend for a very long time, bro. So we're just thankful that you could be here with us.
Appreciate
on
it,
our 50th
man.
episode.
Appreciate it, man. I'm happy to be here. It's
We
good to
love
see
it.
you lot again.
Yeah,
man. After so long.
Come on. What's everyone been up to lately? Everyone all right?
Yeah, man.
Living life.
Easy, fam. Enjoying the sun, you know.
Listen, summer here.
Enjoying the sun, fam.
Seen it. Sun's out, bro.
Sun's out, guns out.
Got everyone moving wicked and bad.
Boris is gone. Boris are gone.
The question is, who's coming next, bro?
Pretty Patel.
It's coming like Stranger Things.
You know what I mean?
Just gets worse.
Might be Rishi.
Did it?
Man,
Okay,
like Rishi.
I think they're all just as bad as each other.
Yeah,
really.
100%. They was all catching wines at this party, though.
Yeah,
They're all conservative. So boy,
We're all
I don't
conservative.
even
Bro.
know.
The one person that could have helped, they got rid of him, fam.
Who's that?
Orban.
He might have done a thing.
Yeah. I think they're all just the same, fam.
I believe Orban was for the people still, I can't even lie.
Yeah.
He's the one time I took proper interest in politics because I was following what he was doing. Jeremy, where's he at now,
It's all a mess. It's all a mess, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's all a mess, to be honest. But we'll see. There's something else going on this weekend. Wireless Festival. What happened last week in Crystal Palace, and this weekend it's in Finsbury Park.
I heard there was Hornets at the one in Palace.
Really?
Yeah, like when it got to like 9:30.
No, that was
No,
wild.
that's
Was that
Max
Max
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you would
Yeah,
know, wouldn't you,
bro,
Sean?
it
Because you
was-
was there, weren't you?
Yeah. You were there, innit, Sean?
You were there, weren't
I was,
you?
bro.
Yeah, okay.
Am I not allowed to go?
No, we didn't say. No, we just asked you if you were there.
Fair. Yeah, I was there
I
still.
forgot I was
You got a big one.
It's what's going.
Hey, was you running from the Hornets, Sean?
No, not at all. I had a bucket hat, so I was alright.
Did you see them?
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't know what they was at first. So I can't lie, fam. They were
That's
massive.
nuts. Someone let them free.
Massive. Yeah,
Everyone's saying that they let them out to get everyone out the park. That's what everyone's saying. But for me, it's mad how the
Like,
time.
how did they all decide to link up at 9? Just
And then
just disturb the people.
There's two things that either happen: is someone let them out, or someone kicked a nest, or like broke.
Okay,
a nest.
yeah,
There's-
one of the two.
Yeah. I don't think it was a. You know, like people say, like, huh?
Imagine you kick the nest, yeah? That initial thought you have when you see them all flying
Yeah,
out.
you're just like, yeah,
You're
it's
done.
wrong, fam. That's
You're
when it's
done
time
for,
to
man.
leave.
You're done.
And they look
I
target.
never actually had the thought that someone kicked the nest. Because the way everyone was describing it was almost like someone let them out on purpose.
Yeah, but obviously
But that's
people
mad,
love
'cause
it.
I've
People
never
love a
seen
thing
that.
like that. People love a thing like that, fam.
Yeah.
Everyone buys it like it's popcorn.
But yeah, speaking of wireless, anyway, I was going to talk about the incident that happened where they put the disabled ramp or the stage at the back of it.
Actually,
which was-
before we talk about that, sorry,
Yeah.
should we talk about Manny? Like, obviously,
Yeah.
Manny's journey, like, you know,
Where do I
just a bit of a backstory.
Yeah.
to you know,
Where do I start?
where do you start, man?
Where do I start? To be honest with you,
Start from, I don't know. Yeah, start from, I guess, childhood. Start from your first kind of your understanding. I guess your understanding of your disability as well.
yeah, man. So, mum, dad, two brothers, two sisters.
Yeah.
We didn't all live together though. So
Okay, yeah.
it was my mum, dad, my oldest brother, and my youngest sister.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess growing up, it was a case of, trying to figure it out. My mum and dad used to take me everywhere by pushchair.
Figure what out exactly?
Like it just
So
obviously having a disability,
Yeah.
and you're young, innit? So I was born with it. So
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
having a disability is second nature.
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
cerebral palsy has always been second nature.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I've never been made to feel different,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's never been like put in my face that I am different, or
Yeah.
I've been separated from everybody else.
yeah,
And I think that was what my parents tried to instill in me from early.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Very important.
I think it took me a while to grasp it,
Yeah.
because obviously, like I had a lot of confidence issues growing up.
I'll ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
Like with cerebral palsy, when you was growing up, did it have an effect on your speech?
Speech, no.
Sometimes it can have an effect on your speech. Sometimes.
Yeah, it can.
Because my cousin, like, she had it.
Yeah, so it comes in different forms.
Yeah.
So even though it's called cerebral palsy, there's different forms of
Okay.
it. So like it might not be as bad for one person as it might be for someone else. So for me, I still have my mobility in my top half. But my bottom half, not so much.
Okay.
So essentially, from what my understanding of it is like your brain sends signals to different parts of your body to obviously you move.
Yeah.
But the signals aren't as strong to like wherever it is that
Okay.
there's
Been
an issue.
affected.
Yeah.
So for me, I've basically learnt to do everything with my top half, and not so much
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So the school I went to was for kids with different disabilities.
Yeah.
So I think that adds to the fact that me growing up, I always knew there were kids like me or in similar
What did that do
situations.
for your confidence?
It definitely helped
In
because
terms of fitting into society and stuff like that, and not feeling like
you're alone.
You're
Like,
alone, yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that definitely helped,
Yeah.
and I think that's what my parents strived for.
that's
In order for me to have my place in society from early.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like an outsider. I don't feel like abandoned.
Yeah.
I think alongside that, it allowed me to come into my own as I got older.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously, when you need help with things, you just ask, innit?
That's it.
But I say I had a lot of like confidence issues asking for help.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously you're not sure and you're young and you're still trying to figure it out. But I think it was a case of realizing that people are prepared to help you. You just have to ask. People might not always have the answers, but you know, someone's always willing to help.
That's it.
And I think it's very easy to feel like if you can't do it, you can't do it. It's a wrap. Like there's no way around it. So as I got older, I decided to, like, my school was basically from nursery all the way to year 11 and sixth form.
Oh, that's
Okay.
really good.
Okay,
That's really
I
good
was-
for confidence.
Yeah. So I was there from nursery
Yeah.
all the way to
Kind of helps you feel a bit more settled, I guess, because you've got the same kind of environment, same-ish sort of environment. Yeah.
So after I did my GCSEs, got to figure out college.
Yeah.
And because I'd been at my school for so long, I kind of wanted a change.
Yeah, you want
Wanted
a
a
challenge
change.
as well, innit?
Yeah, wanted a change, wanted a bit more independence.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt like I got that in college.
Yeah.
And uni as well?
Yeah, uni, definitely.
More so at uni, maybe.
Yeah, because that was like, all right, cool, you're on your own now. Like college, you can obviously you go to college, you do your classes.
How was that for you? Like when you like realizing that you're on your own now, it's almost like the stepping stone into the big open world. Like obviously when you got into uni,
It's daunting, very very daunting, because obviously it's you now. Everything you've learnt in terms of how to handle yourself with a wheelchair comes into play.
Yeah.
So in school, I used to have there was a physio department, and I said to my physio one day, can I learn how to like travel independently by myself? So the basic things like crossing roads and stuff like that. So they set up like basically you take a day out of your classes and somebody comes in from like an external place and teaches kids how to like cross the road and how to do wheelies to get up curbs and basic things like that.
Because you never really think about that, you know, like the challenges that someone that uses a wheelchair will
for
come
sure.
across on a day-to-day basis. On a daily basis,
For sure.
you know?
I think a lot of people don't really notice it unless they know somebody
That's it.
personally or they have some kind of affiliation with somebody who goes through it.
Yeah, I mean, like even when we was downstairs, the way and I said like you're handling, it was sick. The way you went over the hump,
Yeah, and then came down with smooth.
Yeah, it's like you done it in a way that I thought it would have just been straight down. You maneuvered it to the left and that, and obviously that's from you obviously like having to do that on a daily basis, and then you just master it like that.
Yeah, because when I'll explain it. So when you're going up curbs and stuff, you kind of have to be careful because sometimes like the gradient, like the steepness of it could be a bit too high. So you can get up it, but you kind of have to turn to your left or to your right to give yourself that kind of elevation. And then if that doesn't work out, then obviously you ask somebody for help. So 9 times out of 10, when I'm getting up a curb, for example, like you got the flat bit, but then the gradient kind of raises.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, good.
In regards to like obviously like using the wheelchair, you've been in it you've been using the wheelchair from a young age, right?
Yeah.
So when you start to learn how to use a wheelchair, was it frustrating for you? Because obviously like it's something new. Did you get the hang of it straight away, or was it like a lot of trial and error? Like,
trial and error is a big part of it because obviously you realize what you can do, what you can't do. You know where to ask for help almost. When you're young, people will kind of naturally help you anyway because obviously your strength isn't like 100%. So people will naturally help you, but you kind of figure out where you can do it and you can't do it. And I think one of my struggles growing up was I kind of used to expect everybody to help me anyway. So I became kind of not lazy, but when you just
a little bit dependent.
Do you think? Do you think entitled or?
No, I definitely wasn't entitled because like my parents didn't raise me to be like, oh, you should help me. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So
tried to let you to do things for yourself.
They tried to
encourage. How you get on with it before they help.
Exactly. Okay. They definitely tried to encourage me to do that, and I think like as you get a bit older, everything you've kind of learned individually kind of comes together as one. So once you've done it enough times, you kind of know.
Experience, innit?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Manny, what's like, I want to skip to like university days because that seems like the most challenging part of growing up in terms of your first sort of dose of independence, like you being by yourself, parents not there when like you're used to them being there, or the brother not being there, right? What was some of the biggest challenges you felt you faced, and what were some of the things that you thought? What were some of the things that maybe made you feel awkward? That you like, for example, somebody that's not really around someone with disabilities, they might look at you with a sorry face, or they might say something that they think is okay, but they're not sure if it's okay. What would you say those kind of things were? What was that kind of like for you?
I guess if you take my experience from college, right, you kind of take that with you into uni. So you have a slice of independence anyway coming from college, going into uni. But also I think people, like you don't know how people are gonna be towards you. You can't read people's minds, innit? Obviously people are willing to help, but there might be some people that are just like, they kind of put you in a box already and just think, okay, well, he's got limitations. Like that's that. Just trying to fit in, kind of find my place, I guess. And I guess that kind of follows you everywhere you go. For the especially in like the first part of it, when you're trying to figure it out. Like Aaron was actually one of the first people I met. He literally just walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "I'm Aaron," and the rest is history. But for me, it was relatively easy to get on with people.
That fresh as angels thing. But no, that was
Okay,
my
before
third
that.
year.
Oh,
That was
okay,
like
yeah,
my
yeah,
first year. No, me and Manny were just lived in halls together.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember, man. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
when you introduced me and everything.
Yeah, so literally first year, Aaron just walked up to me, shook my hand, and that was that. Like there was no like. Obviously, those questions came later because Aaron's a very curious guy, so he'll naturally ask those questions, isn't it? But yeah, like there was no. So why are you in a wheelchair? Explain. You know what I mean? Like so.
And those just to add to what you said just quickly as well, like those things never, I never really thought about that. Even you taught me a lot of things in that, like it was difficult for you to go to the barbers and stuff like that at times because of the mobility. Getting like, and Luton was, it's hills everywhere.
Luton's a
this
hill.
and that. It's
Yeah,
like,
Luton
it's
is
not really
literally a hill.
It's not really the mobility, the access to things like wheelchair access wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, man. Every day was a gym session. You know what I'm saying? So, literally, like.
So you taught me, things like that. That like, just the things that I would sometimes find just so easy, or sometimes you'd be chilling downstairs in the what was it? The like where the common room
social
was,
space.
by the lobby and everything like
What
that.
do you call it?
The social space.
Social space.
Yeah.
Everyone used to call it the Manny Lounge because I was always
Man,
But
Manny Lounge.
it's getting out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can imagine for you as well, like just being out rather than, because it can be. I guess it can kind of be easy to just sit in your own space.
Yeah,
I'm just happy.
I could easily just like huddle up and be like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
man. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
I think because my parents instilled so much confidence in me from early, like my friends as well, like the support I get has been like, it's been crazy. So, a big part of like where I am today in terms of my confidence and stuff is not only my family, but also just my friends and the people that are
around you.
Yeah, and I think that plays a big part.
Yeah.
It's important because it helps build your confidence and understand, okay, this is who I am, but this doesn't have to limit me to do things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I always tell my little brother all the time, and like my cousins and stuff, like, you don't have to sort of follow the trend and what other people are doing, or just because they're doing that and they're making money from it doesn't mean you have to do it, or because they're wearing this, you have to wear that. As long as you're comfortable within yourself, you know who you are.
Yeah.
Someone else's opinions won't necessarily bother you. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just living your life.
I think once you find your personality and you're
confident in who you are.
I feel like how you present yourself also plays a part in how people perceive you.
100%.
So, it's a 50-50 thing in the long run.
Yeah, you never made your situation a thing.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
that's
you
one
never
thing I
like,
can say.
we'd be, having conversations or whatever, be here and there, and it was never like
You never felt sorry for yourself.
No.
Yeah, the last thing I need anyone to do is pity me because that's not how I was. That's not how I think.
Yeah.
That's not how I was raised to think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So why, if I don't pity myself, why should anybody else pity me? Like I'm just trying to not like be preachy and like say set an example, but I'm just trying to just be myself. And
of course.
Are you able to tell us one of the or shed some light on one of the first times you may have felt like discriminated against because of your disability?
It's never been direct.
Okay.
But
Even worse.
it's never been direct, which is funny enough.
You'd rather it be direct, innit?
Yeah.
Like, tell me what's what in it.
Discrimination in terms of like go to places like Thorpe Park and like Chessington, Alton Towers and that. There's certain rides you can't go on because they'll say, oh, in the event of a fire, which is probably slim to none going to happen, you can't go on this ride because you need to be able to get off the ride by yourself.
But then that's discrimination, yeah. But then at the same time, working in construction, there's the health and safety aspect of things.
Yeah, of course.
You're like, the one time you say to someone that, you know what, like 99.9% chance that this won't happen.
It happened.
It happened.
That one time.
You're
They
gone.
don't want to take the
You're
risk.
gone, literally. Like the whole thing with, I know it's a sensitive topic, but the whole thing with Grenfell and the cladding on the side.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't working in construction. At the time, I was working in housing, and I used to do a similar job, which sort of, kind of, you work with the London Fire Brigade, and you kind of you have planned programs within housing to to change like kitchens, bathrooms and stuff, and sometimes it would be to change the cladding of a building and stuff, and that has to all get approved through the London Fire Brigade. So the person that I knew straight away when that happened, the person whoever approved those claddings,
You know they're done, innit?
yeah, they're done. You've got to go to prison because they made that decision knowing that it wasn't safe.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, in regards to the what you were saying about discrimination with Fort Park and that, there is also a reason why sometimes people cannot take that risk. Because if that happens and you can't get out, and the policy says that you have to be able to evacuate the ride in a certain manner in the event of a fire or something, and you couldn't because someone let you on, that park gets closed down.
Yeah, of course.
You're getting a payout.
You're getting a payout, but
but then sometimes it's like you got a payout, and then sometimes you might have to.
that's it.
You got the other side that you don't want to think about.
Yeah,
Do you know
that's
what I
it,
mean?
that's it.
And in these type of situations, as much as you want to be, you think like you're being a bit difficult.
Yeah.
And you understand it. Sometimes, as Dan said, it's that one time. Because I remember there was a situation in the industry that I work in where normally all the time that things are, you follow things. There's always something that has to be signed a certain way.
100.
Yeah.
And it's always just signed a certain way. No one really looks at it, or people might cut certain corners. But then the one time someone decided not to check and kind of just sign something, someone ended up, I don't even want to get gruesome, but like someone ended up dying. Did you ever hear about Waterloo, the escalator?
Was it what?
I heard someone went down the escalator by himself.
No, so someone was basically working on the escalator because they wasn't checked properly, and someone had just signed it off to say that, I'm done with
You
it.
told us that when we went down.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. You did mention this before to us, but that story
Maybe
is
it
gruesome.
might have been
man.
another
we came out. We came out the
I might have actually,
you told us,
I might have actually, And basically, someone came in, obviously, because this sign that they're all done with it, these time man's working hard. Someone just come in, turned it on. No more, fam. So,
That's it. It's
yeah,
like
it's
that in
wild.
construction. One of the first things you have to do when going onto scaffolding, check the tag that the scaffolding's been checked that week. Because the one time you don't check it, something's come loose. Or you've gone through one of the planks. You've gone. It's Pete.
Does it make you question like new build houses now?
I think with new build houses, it's probably a lot more thought and a lot more cared.
Well,
That's been taken. I think so.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I do this every.
Are the materials as good?
I'm a QS,
Yeah.
So we
What does that stand for?
Quantity surveying.
Okay.
So we sort of like
My hero, fam.
For the people.
But like we sort of like we price the materials for like the new builds and stuff like that, and honestly, value for money, they're okay. But I would much more recommend someone to get like an older house.
Of course.
More foundation to it.
Aesthetically, it looks nice. It's alright. Energy wise, it keeps the house warm, so you're spending less bills essentially. Theoretically,
The walls are paper thin.
thin.
You hear your neighbour clapping cheeks next door.
It's not even just that. It's like sometimes with these schemes, what you have to understand is that unless it's a particular scheme in a particular part of London or whichever city it's in, and there's a certain amount of money being put into that scheme, you're basically gonna get the most cost efficient stuff within that building as possible, which sometimes means less quality. You get what I'm saying? Depending on who the client is. That's a little insight. You know what I mean? But so sometimes you might have a toilet that looks nice, but doesn't last long. The tools in it are maybe the cheapest that you can get.
Plumbing's dead.
Because you have to duplicate that.
Plumbing's dead.
Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine you've got like a
The washer ain't
15-story
durable or
building.
something.
15-story building or 10-story building or whatever, like maybe 8 or whatever, and it's like got maybe 10 flats on every floor or something like that. You've got to duplicate those toilets on every floor. It's going to cost a certain amount of money. So you need to make sure you're within budget. Do you get what I'm saying? So that you can deliver what you need to deliver and rent it out.
Yeah.
100%, man.
It's just crazy. So just be mindful when you're looking at stuff like that, because everything that shines is not glamorous.
Yeah. But ultimately, like we were talking about discrimination earlier.
Yeah.
I don't really think I've like had someone say to me, "Oh, like you can't do this because you're in a wheelchair." I don't like. It might be subtle, and I might not have noticed it. But
So
like,
do you think it's a little bit like racism in a sense where sometimes you know somebody's treating you different because of the way you look?
yeah,
But when you explain it, they'll be like, "Oh, you're crazy because I didn't say that."
I didn't say that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a bit insidious.
yeah, it's a bit sly.
Yeah.
Like it might not have happened to me, but there's probably some people out there that it's definitely happened to, and things like that do happen. I'm not gonna sit here and say like everyone gets preferential treatment.
No, of course, it must do.
Yeah.
It must do.
Nah, man.
Yeah,
I was gonna even say, talking about like restrictions and sort of I guess discrimination as well. I was gonna going back to what you said about wireless as well.
Yeah,
About
yeah,
how,
so-
at the wireless festival in Crystal Palace, the stage that they set up for the like disabled access for it. It was people were complaining on Twitter and stuff like that. I don't know if everyone saw it, but it was super far from the stage.
Yeah,
It
that, I
was
saw that. That was ridiculous.
and the shame of it is that was it Glastonbury that happened a week before Wireless at Crystal Palace? I think it did. And
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
they basically had like the artist / disability stage in the middle of the crowd, so they had like a platform raised.
Okay, yeah.
So obviously everyone was able to see it. You know, it wasn't restricting anyone's view because they didn't have anyone's obviously standing behind it.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, it was all fine. So there's ways to do it. So I know that there's sort of inquiries going into.
I was
Why
really
that happened.
lazy at the Crystal Palace
Really
one.
lazy.
I was proper lazy because I saw the picture. Yeah, not to. Like, I didn't want to laugh in it, but I laughed because I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
Like, how are you meant to see an act?
Yeah, you're laughing 'cause it's not
from
funny,
that
but
far.
It's almost like, as you said, who okayed this?
Yeah, what?
Who okayed this?
I laughed because of how shocking it was.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
that's
just
how I
don't.
laughed. You know what I mean?
I put myself in the person's position, and I was like, if that was me,
Yeah, words.
if that was me, like,
Do you know what's worse about it? They spend money
Yeah.
to go.
True. I mean,
Yeah, go on.
I got a sense of humor, so I would just ask everyone to crowd surf me, but that's.
I heard that.
Hey, this see money, like.
Listen, you
Can't surf him onto
gotta
the
do what you
stage.
gotta do, man.
Trust me.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Trust me, fam.
That is
But
banner.
yeah, man, just
Ah.
it's terrible.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Ultimately,
It's
really
like it's not
bad.
until you see things like that, you know, because we go along to everything. You know, you go to a restaurant, you go to here, you go to there, and where we don't have to think about those sort of things, where we literally turn a blind eye to it. You just go to your seat, you go to whatever, and then you carry on with what you're doing. But
A lot of people scream inclusivity, but ultimately, like when it comes down to it, they just don't like.
yeah,
They
like
don't-
who's inclusive?
It's because
of-
it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. Inclusivity, diversity.
Normally, when you're applying for jobs and stuff, there's a little statement saying like, "Oh, we cater for everyone, almost like regardless of your disability, sex, creed, age, all that." But then you get into the interview and then you ask the question of like, "What's the disabled access like in the building?" And they're like, "I'm not sure, but I can figure it out for you." And you were just like, I've had it before because like I've been going for a period where I'm looking for work and stuff.
Yeah,
And, you know, one of the questions I'll always ask is, "What's the wheelchair accessibility like in the building?" And there's been a few times where they've literally said to me like, "I'm not sure, but I'll speak to someone and figure it out."
Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to ask just quickly in relation to that question. Do you find that you get preferential treatment when it comes to interviews as well? Because you know that sometimes they say on like when you're applying for a job, it will say, "Oh, you know, if you're disabled or blah blah blah, you know, you'll definitely get an interview at least."
You mean
or
like
something
filling a quota or?
Yeah, like sometimes when you're applying for a job, it will say,
diversity quota.
diversity quota. It will say, "Oh, yeah, we will definitely at least offer you an interview." Do you feel like you've been discriminated through that, like not getting something because of maybe your disability?
There has been times where like I have felt personally like you lot just gave me the interview just because to say that you gave it.
Yeah.
It does feel kind of forced sometimes.
Sometimes it is like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, and I guess if you've been through the process enough times of interviews, you do start to realize that it does get that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's not much you can do about it on your end. Like is the way it is. You just got to keep pushing at it. No pun intended. But yeah,
It doesn't make it right regardless, but do you know what I mean?
But
Your attitude towards it, like, just got to keep persevering.
You've got a great attitude to life, Manny. That's one thing I've always respected about you. I even remember there was some times at uni where you did get a little bit low, and we've had our conversations, you know, and you know, we've tried to encourage each other as best as we can, and I've seen you bounce back from different situations. Yeah, you're just an admirable young man, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, your attitude to life, your attitude towards doing anything is second to none.
You never made it a problem.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
No.
Yeah,
you never really made anything a problem.
No.
That's it. It's just a nice guy.
Like,
he's just a nice guy. I don't have nothing bad to say.
Like, if I can't do something, I'll ask questions. But ultimately, if I can't do it, I can't do it. I'm not gonna be like, well, you lot should do something about. Well, obviously you should, but like, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not screaming at everyone. Like that's just not.
That's not you. Yeah.
Like
100%, man.
I respect you, bro, man.
it's like if I'm out like just going about whatever. There's certain places where you can't get to because like the pavement doesn't dip in order for me to. So I'm just like, okay, I might have to go to like a traffic light down the street. But even though
something. You see, in that case, if the pavement's too high or something, have you ever tried to like roll off? Like try to get off of it, even though you know you shouldn't. Have you ever thought, fuck this, I'm going now. You're in a rush, you know.
He looks down, he gets there, he looks down the road, he's like, nah, that's fine.
You know what? Okay, so for me, this is gonna sound so reckless, but this is gonna sound so terrible. But I'll just go on the road.
Swear on.
I'll go on the side of the road.
Fair.
So I'll give you an example. The college I used to go to was on a street full of houses, but like everyone's driveways, everyone's cars had like dips, so the cars could back up. But for me, if I'm going up that hill in my chair, you're using a lot more energy to get yourself over that gradient. So it got to a point where I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start going, because it was quite a long journey. So I figured I'm going to start going on the road with all these cars. There's bare space. Like, no one can really tell me nothing. Like,
Did you get looped?
You're not going to run me over. Like, so, and then one day, I think someone at college, like one of the people that work at the office, she was like, well, I've heard you've been like going in the roads to like. I heard you've been going in the road instead of the pavement to like get yourself. I said, yeah, well, if you exert as much energy as I do, if you were in my position, doing what I do, doing what I do on a daily, you would do the same thing, or you would be exhausted. So it's like, I'm going to keep doing this regardless of what you told me. Because,
listen, man, or give me 20 minutes grace to get there a bit later or something.
Sometimes you got to paint that picture for people, though.
Truthfully, I wouldn't do something if I didn't think I could do it. I'm at that stage now where like if going on the road is better for me than going on a pavement that keeps like the gradient keeps changing every 2 minutes, and I'm exerting more energy than I actually need to, I'm gonna go in the road.
That's just human instinct, though.
Exactly. And like London, in terms of like train stations and stuff, you'd think there'd be accessibility everywhere. I mean, they're doing. It's getting much better job.
It's getting better, but it's still not where it's supposed to be.
Especially in like the central area. Like on the outskirts of central, cool. But like the Sohos and the Oxford streets,
that must be a nightmare for you sometimes, because I find them busy in general with how packed they are.
So with a wheelchair as well, that must be mad.
Yeah, like have you ever tried to hit up any Boxing Day sales or January sales?
There was one year where I went Boxing Day sales by myself, and I was just like,
why did I do this?
That's mad.
But that's the like you
ruthless, you know.
Nobody cares.
Take something, cut your hand if you're not careful.
And then if I accidentally scrape the back of your foot, you're coming at me because I bumped into you. Keep it moving, man. Like, straight. Come on, man. Like seriously. I'm moving at the same pace as you, and you're screaming at me because
It's just frustration. I don't think it's even frustration at you. I think, especially just up in central London as well, people just naturally miserable, always in a rush. You know, so
sometimes there's no consideration. There's been times where I've asked for help and people have just like looked at me, and just like waved and just carried on going. I'm like, so there's that. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, you're just like, all right, cool, I'll do this myself then. Do you know what I mean? So,
I mean, do you know what? It's like, as we were saying, like your attitude to life is inspiring and it's great. But again, like Sion can vouch for me when I talk about some people with disabilities, the ones who act entitled, and the ones who take advantage of the fact that they have a disability, and almost demand that you help them. Or I've heard a lot of instances where some visually impaired people always. So what they do is they come to a certain place, ask for assistance, but they'll ask for assistance if it's a male
from a specific person.
A specific person, and there's been rumors that they've inappropriately touched that person, or you know that like they're really, but then the person can't say that they inappropriately touched them because
they're visually
impaired.
So
that's nuts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't think about those things, isn't it?
There's been so many stories and so many rumors of stuff like that going on.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna.
Can't
like,
get into that
just,
too tough, but yeah, man, it's crazy.
It's mad, man. But
do you know any like people who do act like entitled because of their disability, or do move a certain way because of how they are?
Not that I can think of off top. A lot of people I know are very independent and they do it themselves. Some might need extra help, but they're still very like
respectful.
Still very respectful. Still do a lot of things for themselves.
Yeah,
they might have a carer, but they're still very independent.
Do you join any have you joined any sort of communities of people that do have disabilities or similar like wheelchair experiences like that you sort of have to kind of have I guess to make it a bit more to understand people that have the similar sort of struggles to you, or do you kind of just live your life and you're just it's not really your thing?
I kind of just do me. Like if I meet you along the way, then I meet you in it. But it's not by force that I got to go to you know what I mean? I got to go to like a kind of place to feel like I need to fit in, because I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And I feel like that's something I pride myself on, because it's taken me a long time to get there. But that's no disrespect to anyone that does go to does go to clubs to like
and stuff like that.
Like do your thing in it. But to me, I feel like I'll if I run into you along the way in life, then you know that's how I meet you. Like for example, I met Sion because he used to I used to go to where he used to work there or not.
No.
You weren't there. Well, yeah, I used to go there to travel home from work and to work. And I didn't realise that Sion was Sion.
No one knows that's what they do.
You know what? This is a great example of why you should always be like kind to people. You know, because you could have been. Imagine
if I was a jerk to you, or I didn't have any, you know, patience with you or any. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and then you're here sitting with
you now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just. Guys, man, it doesn't cost anything to be kind to people.
Not at all.
Do you know what I mean? Or just to
like a little smile.
Observe it.
I've got to follow. So actually, I'll do it.
Clap.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm making something. Am I moving mad?
Yeah. You trying to run it now?